Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been more than a week or two since I recorded any review video on here, and that's because I've been traveling. I haven't been on the chat, and plus, I think that the past few days has been very difficult looking at what has been happening. It's been more of consolidation and not much of expansion, and so I took that as an advantage while I was away and decided not to come to the chat until I'm finally settled. And now we are here. It's a new week, and I'm back to what I have been doing here. Uh, so this is the dollar index, but I would like to go through the calendar to see what we have coming up for this week. Monday we are free, Tuesday free, Wednesday we have CPI, and then Thursday there's news for GBP and USD, and then Friday as well, right? So majority of the move is going to be based on the second half of the week since we don't have any major event. We don't have any event on Monday and Tuesday, right? So I have opened the weekly chart for the dollar index as we usually like to start from there to get an overview of what is happening. But if I bring this thing together, you could definitely see that we are still stuck in this massive consolidation after this expansion, right? And so we are going to play within to see what is happening. We had an expansion taking out this high and price turned back inside there. What I'm actually seeing now is this gap here that price actually closed above, right? On the weekly, this is what I'm seeing. Price closing above this. Let's see what we have on the daily. If you remember this gap from my previous video, I was saying that we wanted to see how price react from here. We had a drop, and then we were expecting based off of that was to see a continuation from here to the lows, but that didn't happen. We saw massive chop from here, about 1, 2, 3, 4, more like a whole week chop, and then finally we had a breakout to the upside for the highs on here, right? So this level here we marked is coming from the weekly. Also on the dailies, we have this here that has been disrespected, right? And so moving forward, even though we have taken this, you could see last week we only expanded. We had 2 days of expansion to the high, and then the rest of the days has been very choppy with no direction. That can be accepted because once price takes out higher time frame, low or high, it goes into um, consolidation for either a pullback or a continuation. So what we are seeing here is as a result of price taking out this high, right? Now moving on, what I would love to see, I marked out this level here because this price actually left this small gap here that has been left untapped. So what I would love to see is for, I don't know what's going to happen from here. It could possibly continue higher. And with what is going on right now in this world with all of the wars, anything at all can happen, right? You can just continue higher or just come back to take out this into this, all right? And then a continuation from here to the upside. Ideally, this is what we would expect once price takes out a higher time frame level, maybe some chop, and then a pullback to take out some more lows or some more liquidity before it continues. But looking back, I think that once price comes down to these areas, the areas that are confluencing with both the weekly and the daily BPR, as well as the daily FVG, I think that once price returns back to these lows, it is more likely to bounce off. The only time that I'm going to want to see price go lower is when price begins to make its way below all of these areas. Then we can look for price to trade to the lows here, right? But in the meantime, once price gets to, if I see, it could possibly be that price will take out the previous week's high one more time and then drop to come back to some internal range liquidity. So external all the way back internal, and then perhaps a continuation, right? That is my first, that's the first scenario perhaps I'll be looking for once I see price dropping back into these areas. Why? Because of these confluence levels that I have actually marked in here, right? But when I see price breaking below all of these confluence levels, then like I said, I would be looking to short aiming for all of these lows that has been hanging here. It also would mean that price is still in that consolidation, it's still in that big consolidation where whenever it takes out the high, it returns back to the low, right? Takes out this high and then returns back to the low, now taking out this high and then perhaps returning back to the low, right? Which also means that we are still left and still stuck in that huge consolidation. But ideally, if price is breaking out, you can see that we have almost equal highs here, right? That would be a good target if price rejects from this level, right? If we see price rejecting from these levels that I've marked here, that level that I've marked there would be a very good target to the upside. But in the meantime, I can't really tell whether price is going to reverse from here or it's going to come down. I would like to wait and monitor to see what price does once we take out each or either side of the liquidity levels. And then from there, we can take a decision based off of the current order flow that we'll be getting from the H4 and then the H1, right? So on the H4, yes, it is more likely that we may take this one out. We've seen a gap up. So let's see how price goes. All right. In the meantime, we cannot tell, but that's we are still stuck in this consolidation. But I think I would love for price to take out this and then maybe return back in here, right? Before perhaps we continue for the target. This would probably be enough, but then we cannot be too sure until price tells us that this is exactly what it was to do. Right. But in the meantime, we keep our fingers crossed and then watch what price action does. I'll quickly switch to USD on the weekly. Also, we have seen price close below this the previous week. What do we have on the daily? Yeah, on the daily, I marked this area wanting to see what price does once we get there. So Russian gap, right? So you can see that price is actually sweeping the previous week's low. So I want to wait to see what's going to happen from here. All right, so it will be too early to tell what price wants to do. Let's see what the daily. Okay, now yeah. So if this week closes below this level, then we are now set for some of these lows, right? But it will be too early to call. Last week we swept it and then we rejected that. But this week looks like it wants to. But I would love to see price take some break, take out the high, the low, sorry, and then reject back for some liquidity before we continue lower, right? I would love to see something like this. But like I said, we cannot be too sure and we cannot enforce what we are seeing until price begins to tell me exactly what it wants to do, right? I can only have a bias and a narrative, okay? But then price would have to confirm with the action it is taking before I can say that, yes, what I am looking for is going to materialize. This can be a very good target coming down. On the H4, let's see what price is doing. Clean these ones out. Yeah, so on the H4, we are now currently sweeping the previous week's high, low. Sorry, I keep saying the previous week's high. We are now sweeping the previous week's low. If we see any rejection from here back into the range, then it's more likely that we come back for this internal range liquidity. So this is internal range liquidity. If we see a rejection of this back into the range, then this is more likely to be swept before continuation to the downside, right? Yeah, so that's it for Euro USD. Let me see what I can find on cable on the weekly. Yes, also sweeping this low, rejecting, and then price gap down, still within the previous week's low. Now, yes, we've already had price balance this one. Yeah, closed below 2 previous weeks, balance that. It's been very, 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 very tight because this is nothing to write home about. As well as this, we saw an expansion. Let's see what the daily did. We only saw wicks. I think this has been very, very difficult to trade. Wick, wick, and then consolidation. Yes, it is more likely to see. I'm pretty sure we might see some T divergence with the way things are looking at. Like otherwise, we would like to price may like to take this one before internal range. Let me just draw this one out. Let me just draw some of this. This is a close. This is open. Let me just draw this one out. As an opening gap here. And then I would like to see what price does once this gets revisited. Meantime, let's see for the daily. Oh, this is for H4. Closing below down candles, closing below up candles. Here, close below. Okay, so this is the last range, and then price got stuck in this. So let me see if we can come back for this high as internal range liquidity for continuation to the upside. This is actually okay. So I'll leave this and then see. I think that Euro USD is much more clearer as opposed to this one. So I'll see how the week grows into, and then we'll take action from there, right? I would love to end the video here. I wanted to keep it as short and simple as possible. If this has been any helpful and informative, do well to like and subscribe to the channel for more of such videos. Thank you. I'll see you after the day closes for Monday.